Here are 4 tips to study consistently. Firstly, establish a fixed amount of studying per week. Having a fixed amount of hours per week will protect your downtime and make the study more enjoyable. Not being able to engage with the material in other hours will increase your desire to perform during the fixed hours. Moreover, it creates some space between you and your work. This can help you analyze your method and grow as a result of your metacognition. To start off, you can establish a fixed amount of hours per week and then gauge your efforts in the first weeks. The main aim is to give yourself 80 to 85% of your study efforts during the sessions. If it feels overwhelming, you can cut down on the amount of hours. On the contrary, if it feels too relaxed, then you can add in more hours. At the end of the week, you can perform an analysis of how much content was covered and how much effort you put in. You can further adapt your efforts to meet the content needs. Let's say that you start with a fixed amount of 4 days per week of studying. In these 4 days, I would not recommend going above 4 hours of studying. A good rule of thumb is between 2 and 4 hours of study. You could study, for instance, for 3 hours for 4 days. At the end of the week, you will establish whether you need to increase the amount of sessions or decrease them, and how effectively you covered the material. Now that you have determined the fixed amount of hours to study in a week, it is high time this study time was separated in days. Thus, let your colleagues know, or your family if you're working from home, that you are going to be unavailable during specified times. Creating rituals around these sessions will smoothen your flow into and out of the activity. For instance, you can enter into the habit of going to the library as a precursor to your study sessions. When you are finished with the study sessions, you can say to yourself cognitively, the study sessions for today were done. This is a method recommended in Deep Work by Cal Newport. The third tip to have success in consistently studying is employing the novelty factor as a potentiator. The mind is naturally curious. However, if you are planning to study 3 hours of maths on a Monday and 3 hours of literature on a Tuesday, you will get easily bored. You can make use of the novelty factor as well as the interleaving method to have better results. In the aforementioned established sessions, you can rotate between skills or subjects, thus retaining more material and being more enjoyable for the brain. For instance, you won't do 3 hours of mathematics on Monday and 3 hours of literature on Tuesday. Instead, you will cycle between the skills involved on Monday and through the courses on Tuesday. You will study mathematics for 1 hour on Tuesday, then literature for 1 hour, and finally some coding in the last hour. On Monday, when you cycle between skills, you can code for 1 hour, make a synthesis in the next hour, and read some theorems for mathematics. The fourth tip for being consistent is represented by making the journey enjoyable. Remember, it is not about the goal of obtaining something, but rather the process. There are 3 ways to make it more enjoyable. Firstly, you can make it fun. Tweak something that will make the process more playful. Another way to make it enjoyable is to make it a social event. For instance, instead of studying alone, you can study in a small study group of 3 to 4 people. The third and last way to make it enjoyable is to make it cozy. Pour yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Now that you know how to study consistently, you can learn how to study when your motivation is low by watching this video.